It's about time to get started. Let me just make sure that OBS does not crash. Alright, 3, 2, 1. Speeding at Seed Smeezy, hello everybody! I'm actually on time today. What? Z is on time? Unprecedented update. Well, I wanted to get started a little bit early today because I do have to leave about an hour 30 in, but that's how long my streams are typically. 3 minutes late! No, no, I promise. This is probably the earliest I've been on time. I usually run like 5 to 15 minutes late. I love the black hole background. Thank you so much. Hello, Orbeez. Take a shot of water every time Z crashes the bus. Well, it is very important to stay hydrated, or you can take a shot of coffee, though I would not recommend that given how bad my driving skills are. I do have a bottle of water here, though, which is great. Yes, you guys should make sure you have your protection gear, because we're about to go on a wild drive while I answer, I think, like 60 questions as fast as I possibly can. Anywho, class, it's time for attendance. So I'm gonna go through the YouTube and the Twitch lists. Good morning, Apa. Hello, Rye. Space Guy Rye. Hello, Zilla. Hello, PodChamp. Hello, Blitzer. Hello, Stella. Hello, Ilgaz. Hello, Eternal Sonata. Hello, Astro. Hello, Eggy. Hello, Germanium. Hello, Architelos. Hello, I think I said hi to Stella already. Hello, Xenotime. Hello, Carmomos. Hello, Warpy. And hello, Thunder Nugget. Thank you so much for joining for the first time. I hope everybody... Oh, hello, Dima. I hope everybody's been having a great day. I've had some crazy updates, low-key. Low-key, things have been a little wild. So... I talk about this more in detail in the members chat, so if you're a member, I recommend that you go in there and read, like, what actually happened. But, TLDR, I've been dealing with a bit of a stressful situation. This car that my friend and I have been using frequently actually got broken into a few days ago. I'm laughing with panic because it's been a bit of an intense situation the past few days. Fortunately, nothing valuable was stolen. Everybody's safe. And insurance was able to cover everything. It's just been a bit of an ordeal dealing with this, and we had the police visit, and they've been patrolling the area, which has been great. It's just been a bit of a hassle. Yeah, no, that's crazy. Yeah, no, it's been a little bit difficult, if I have to be honest. What's really scary is that the police said that the type of robbery that we underwent is, the robbers may have possibly have been tracking our car for up to weeks prior to the incident, which is a little bit terrifying. So have been trying to be careful, like not going out at night, you know, making sure that I'm like always with somebody, etc. Please stay safe. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a little bit scary, but at the end of the day, like, we're really glad that, like, nobody was there at the robbery, like, nobody was hurt. Fortunately, car parts are replaceable, people are not. And yeah, it's just been a bit of a stressful situation dealing with, like, towing the car and insurance and everything. But yeah, that's what I've been up to recently. Definitely an unexpected turn of events, but honestly, in retrospect, like, it could have been far, far worse, and we're very grateful that it wasn't, and now we have police on the case, so yep. That's what I've been up to. So you might be wondering, when is next stream? So I'm actually going out of town, not this weekend, but the next. So my next stream will probably be the unboxing stream, and I'm planning to have a co-working member stream, along with, the members. So if you're a member, keep an eye out for that. Yeah, though, the zeeping emoji was definitely what my mood was. but it's all right. Fortunately, there have been a lot of really supportive people. Like a few days ago, I got like a box of like my favorite chocolates, which was really delicious, and then also went out to ice cream to like debrief everything that happened after this like really stressful incident. Cider collab when? Oh, I wish. We've actually been talking about it. I think honestly it might be a while before it happens. Like we have a set time. It's just Cider has been very busy going through some stuff right now, and you know, given that she wants to take her time, I think this will probably happen like later down the road. Yeah, so it is in the plans. It is in the plans. We have a time set, just not quite a date, and that will be up to when Syzygy comes back. So that'll be great. That being said, I think we should just get started with the questions because we have a lot to go through. Let me take a sip of water. So this is actually morning for me right now because I live in Pacific time. But Orbeez, I'm actually curious, what time roughly is it for you guys? Maybe I'll do a poll. Like, what time is it roughly for you? Morning, afternoon, night. 8:10, so probably evening. Maybe I'll also do, I actually have no idea how to do polls on I don't even know how to do polls on Twitch. Well, if you were on Twitch, you should just go to YouTube and help vote. Yes! Okay, I got my Nightbot to work on Twitch too. That was not working before. 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 11 a.m., sleeping time, 11 a.m., lunchtime. Okay, cool. Noon, yeah, so I guess it's more early morning for me. And I guess for you guys, it's a late night drive, not an early morning drive. So whatever time zone it is, we're gonna go out for a nice drive. Is it dot slash poll? Slash poll? Help! No, slash poll doesn't work. Maybe I have to set this up on Nightbot. That's another thing I'll set up. Z time. Well, it's currently 10 a.m. for me, but since I'm a photon, I can probably travel at speed to your time zone as well. A nice drive. I promise you, Orbeez, it won't be that bad. Time is relative. Yeah, time is sure relative. Looks like the poll says mostly afternoon. Interesting. So we're gonna go for a nice dinner afternoon stroll. So let me just quickly switch to my other screen. Oh, sorry. All right, you guys, we are so ready. This is going to happen. Let me make chat a little bit smaller. All right. So my mouse is still broken, so I'm still using my trackpad. So this may end very badly or very well. Okay, first we gotta set up the bus. I actually already set it to a bus in advance. But, Orbeez, there are different maps. It's been an honor. No, I promise you, I'm gonna drive carefully. Okay, so we're on the left side. We're using a bus. AWD, FWD, or RW, I guess A. Does that mean automatic? All right, we can choose a, here, let me disable the slides real quick. We can choose a season. I guess I like this fall one. We're actually driving nice knowing you, chat. No, Orbeez, I promise it'll be okay. Well, it's morning for me. So there's sunrise, sunset, or moon, or night. Which one do you guys like? The night one isn't bad, but I think the normal sun one looks pretty good. We can also switch this up during the stream. Hills, winding, what is there? Straight, casual, normal, and winding. Hills or off-world. Sunrise? Should we do sunrise? I think sunrise is kind of nice. Off-world? What is off-world? Whoa. I see. Is this like... Is this supposed to be like a... Mars or something? I also knows... Oh, I brought back the music, guys. Straight, flat road. I like the hills more. I think we should go with normal. I think that that's the kind of vibe we're trying to manifest for the stream. How large am I? I'm the size of a photon. Winter for hard mode? Was there winter? Oh shoot! We are not gonna survive this. Okay, let's do sunrise fall for a bit, and then we can also switch to other weather styles, because I do want to try this. Oh, wait, that's auto drive. No, that's cheating. Okay. 4 millimeters tall with 0 volume. That's very accurate. Z's model looks great. Hello, A. Thank you so much for stopping by. Yeah, no, have fun at school. You better focus in school. School's very important. All right, so let me bring back the slides. Yeah, so first of off, thank you for all the questions. We actually got over 70 questions on this like Reddit post that went viral, so thank you so much. And if you're here from that, hello. Hi, I'm Z. I am a physics VTuber who also does astrophysics research, and yeah, I'm very excited to answer your questions. So there's many different categories. So the order that we're going to go in is physics education, astrophysics, and about Z. And just to preface, I tried to include like as many questions as I could, but of course, like if I didn't get to your question, or if I excluded it and you wanted it to be answered, like please feel free to drop it into the Discord. The Discord will be linked here, and yes, you are the same AAIA in the server. Oh, thank you for stopping by, Xenotime. We will sure have very much fun on the drive. There were some questions that seemed like homework questions, so I actually excluded those. Just because we have a finite amount of time, and I don't really feel comfortable answering those. But that being said, if your question was not answered, like feel free to include in the Discord. I think there is like a question section, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Alright. The YouTube appears to be in slight delay from the Twitch. Oh. Interesting. I'm actually not sure why that happens. Hopefully it's not too laggy, because my computer fan is starting up again. Let me know if it becomes an issue. I'll keep an eye on chat. Alright, category number 1 is physics. Oh my god, this is a huge question. We're gonna read this before we start moving. Theoretical pseudophysics, i.e. DC superheroes like Wally West and other speedsters using the Speed Force. Let's say that the Speed Force does in fact offer its users immunity to the laws of physics while using it. Talk about some fun physics-based shenanigans one can accomplish if they do things like vibrate at any frequency, including through matter, move any part of them at the speed of light, or react and think at the speed of light. From Doinkus. First off, I love your username. Second off, we're gonna move. And third, so I made these slides. So I was actually thinking about ways for interacting with vibrating at the right frequency can really like help you do anything. Because if you can vibrate your particles individually at the right frequency, you can actually slip through walls, or even like locks, or even like phase like one finger at a time. Another thing that was mentioned in this question was like moving at the speed of light, or thinking at the speed of light. I feel like in that case you could just like simulate Brace yourselves! I promise you I'm driving safely! If you can think at the speed of light, you can simulate a bunch of stuff in your head, like, really quickly. I'm not sure how physics this is, but I think also you could probably think about things in slow motion. I am not driving in a straight line. I promise you guys, I won't break your legs or ribs. Seatbelts on, class. I was also thinking, if you could vibrate at the right frequency, you could send, like, different shock waves. Oh, we are going off-road. And send compressed air. So I guess those are a few examples of ways. Please let me reverse. Ah! What happened? What was that sound? Oh, I must have set up a notification and it didn't. Technical difficulties. Oh shoot, I think it's in, okay, wait, sorry, Orbeez, give me 1 second. Oh, I disabled alerts. To whoever followed, on the Twitch, oh, I think it was Sine Wave Mood. Thank you so much for, following. I broke my neck, no, I promise. You're bleeding out, please, no. Orbeez, we're driving carefully, I promise. But, Doinkus, I hope that answers your question. I think it'll be pretty cool to vibrate at a different... Oop. I think it'll be pretty cool to vibrate at different frequencies. Because imagine how cool it would be if you could just walk through walls. I don't know about you guys, but, when I'm walking around, like, my institution, I like to do this thing called traveling in hypotenuses. It means, like, I'm cutting across lawns. Well, not, like, freshly cut lawns, but... yeah, I'm cutting across lawns like I'm doing literally right now. Although this is not a hypotenuse. Actually, this is very far from a hypotenuse. And so I'm thinking, if you can travel through walls, that's just a more efficient way of cutting across like I'm doing right now. Look at how easy that was. Look, wait, Orbeez, look at this. We're literally the superpower that this guy suggested. We can go through walls. We are vibrating at the correct frequency to go through that wall. Alright, I return back to the road. Next question. That's why quads have those diagonal paths on them. I use those all the time. Yes, look at this beautiful fall nature. Alright, question number 2. What is the most likely hypothesis we have for finding a way for physics to allow for time travel to the past? And I guess a very similar question is, would time stop even be possible? How can I do JoJo poses and scream the world in a bad Japanese accent? So I guess both of these are about time travel to the past or time stopping. Oh my god. We are literally oscillating on the road. Oh my god! We're cutting through trees! Wait, Orbeez, I think we're gonna have to go with the easier map. I think we're gonna go with straight. Okay, we're gonna go with straight for a bit because I actually do want to help answer these questions. Alright. So, about time travel. Or time stopping. There is this thing called causality, which means, like, basically one thing causes another. And if it was possible to go faster than the speed of light, causality could be reversed. That means that the cause could happen after the effect, or the effect could happen before the cause. Now, of course, that's not physically possible. So, unfortunately, I'm sorry, Son of Baal and Coldweight, there isn't any, likely hypothesis for time travel. It just doesn't make sense with the universe. It would break causality. But it is cool to think about, and that being said, I do really like movies that include that kind of, element. But for now, unfortunately, is not possible. It also has to do with, like, the grandfather paradox, this idea that, like, if you go back in time and, you know, kill your own grandfather, like, you wouldn't exist, and therefore you would not be able to kill your own grandfather. It creates these paradoxes that just aren't possible within the universe. Never let Z drive. No, we're on a straight road now. See, I feel like with the straight road, it's much easier to focus. Never mind the fact that we're going 120 kilometers per hour. We're actually going very fast. But if you could pass through matter to walk through walls, wouldn't you fall to the ground/floor while doing that? Well, I assume that each material has, like, different frequencies to, like, go, like, every material has different densities. I'd assume that you'd have different materials. See, this is all hypothetical because obviously you cannot vibrate at a frequency to slip your arm through a wall. Some weird quantum mechanics stuff that violated causality? Maybe, but I mean, the idea of causality and having the speed of light as an upper limit is one of Einstein's postulates. It's a really well-defined law in physics. Oh! Ah! What? I think my alerts are broken. Oh, thank you, Guild Games, for following. Actually, if we get to 200 Orbeez on the Twitch by the end of the stream, that'll be, or even by the end of next week, that would be a huge celebration. We are speeding. Alright, next question. Where's the other 90% of the universe? From Amazing Drew. Thank you, because this is the question that literally everybody in astrophysics is asking about. The answer is we don't know, but we have a lot of clues that could help us understand this. So, 27% of the universe is made up of dark matter. It's this invisible matter that doesn't interact with the electromagnetic force, which means it doesn't emit or absorb light. But we can understand it in how it interacts with gravity. It keeps galaxies from basically flying apart. We can see it bend light with gravitational lensing, and it affects the formation of different cosmic structures. Now, the other 68% we know even less, which is... Ah! Oh, thank you, Germanium GE, for following. So dark energy affects the inflation of the universe, but we don't know anything about what it's made of. We think that it's driven by this thing called a cosmological constant, though there are some competing theories out there as well. So normal matter, everything that you can see, touch, feel, interact with, that is just 5% of the universe. So the question of where's the other 90% of the universe is really what astrophysicists are trying to understand. We're going at 145 kilometers per hour, Orbeez. Some fast Googling suggests I was wrong. Yeah, I was going to say, causality is a very important concept in physics. Alright, next question. Cyclone asks, what's heavier, a kilogram of steel or a kilogram of feathers? Like, mass-wise, they weigh the same, like, 1 kilogram? I guess, the reason why this type of question appears, I can sort of talk about that, is because of human perception. Steel is denser than feathers. So a kilogram of steel would be like, it would just like fit in your hand maybe. Whereas the feathers are a lot less dense, so when you would see a kilogram of feathers, it would be this like huge pile. So the mass is like identical. Yeah, they weigh the same. But the reason why there's probably a bit of confusion and the reason why this question is being asked is because of human perception. The volume and sort of the density of each of these materials are very different. Yeah, it is a meme. I have heard this a few times, but I'm happy to answer this question, and I think the reason why it's a meme is also equally important. Wouldn't the feathers blow in the wind? Actually, that's a fair point. Maybe we can't even gather a kilogram of feathers. I'm actually curious, has somebody gathered a kilogram of feathers before? Somebody has got to have done that. Anywho, next question. Oh, every time I take my hand off of the arrow key, the bus slows down. We are currently at 124 kilometers per hour. See, Orbeez, no body parts broken. We are completely zen mode right now. I have a pillow with feathers in it. Is it 1 kilogram? Wait. Actually, yeah, 1 kilogram is quite light. One kilogram. Find 1 kilogram of feathers. Am I just... See, I'm getting confused too. I thought you'd need like... Sorry, the bus is slowing down. Wait, I'm not on auto drive. I can control the mouse. Look at that. Wait, 1 kilogram of feathers is $186. Wait, this is for 3rd grade ostrich feathers. Uh-oh, the bus is getting stuck. Wait, do I just not know how much a kilogram is? Hello, Hakase, it's a steamy baddie, thank you so much. A pillow's about 2 kilograms. Then why is this packet of feathers selling for $186? Chotomate. How much is a pillow? Wait, sorry, Orbeez, I'm not pushing the bus, I'm Googling. Oh my god, yeah. I just have no idea how big a kilogram is. Yeah, a pillow... This is so embarrassing! I thought a kilogram was heavier. I thought a kilogram would be like 2 or 3 pillows. Orbeez, this never happened. Shh. Z does not know how much a kilogram weighs. Z is a raw American freedom unit. Alright, we're back on the road. Maybe they're true goose feathers. Maybe they are true ostrich feathers. Maybe that's why they're $186. Premium feathers are expensive, but these were for 3rd grade class. That's a total ripoff. Maybe the demographic for that was people like me who don't know how much a kilogram is. Z, will you do a stream about the Nobel Prize winners this year? I think I'll talk about it during the stream, but I don't think I'm like fully qualified to talk about the science of it. I would love to talk about it though. I actually heard a funny story. The Nobel Prize in Medicine, one of the people who won it, they actually weren't able to contact him. And it turns out it was because after he was doing all this science, he literally like went off grid and was like in the wilderness. And like nobody was able to reach him. Hello, young lord. How's everybody doing? See, we're in one piece right now. The bus is traveling smoothly. We're answering questions. Things are great. That being said, next question. From Mothman Downtown. Whoa. If you had a ship in space at rest with a flag on a pole that was hanging limp, then the ship began moving forward, would the flag billow out? Well, if you're in space, there's no air. So there's nothing for the flag to sort of catch on and billow against. Yeah, this Mothman downtown, I don't think it's Myelin. For those of you who are new, Myelin is my gen mate in V Theorem, who is a Mothman. As someone who studies very small phenomena, it's surprising how bad you get with units outside your window interest. That's so true. Like, I know that the sun is 2 times 10 to the 30 solar masses, but I don't know that a pillow is 2 kilograms. Well, I think if there's like air, is it saying that there's like air inside the ship? And you accelerate suddenly, then the air would lag. I think, yeah, I guess that was what the inertia comment was saying. If there's air inside the ship and the flag is inside the ship and you accelerate, then the air inside the ship has inertia. It wants to stay in the same place. And so it sort of like pushes the flag a little bit. Oh, I was assuming the flag was outside the ship. Yeah, because in that case, there's no vacuum. I guess, more information needed. Wait, no! The sun is 10, oh no, the sun is 2 times 10 to the 30 solar masses. Oh no! No! 2 times 10 to 30 kilograms! No! The sun is not 2 times 10 to the 30 solar... Oh my god, please don't clip that. I'm so bad with units today. It's because it's the morning, Orbies. It's the morning, please. The sun is 1 solar mass, which is 2 times 10 to the 30 kilograms. This is definitely A the astrologer. No, I'm not. No. There's been a conspiracy theory that after my new outfit, I'm actually A the astrologer, my alter ego who hates science. I am not A the astrologer, I promise you, it's Z. The imposter theory is becoming real, no, I promise. Numbers are hard. I just misspoke. I promise you, I'm not A the astrologer. Anywho, next question. Oh, this was a bit of a long one. Ah! Oh, we're going off-road for this one. Oh my god. Oh my god, are we going negative distance? Turn back! I'm sorry, I can't... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What is heavier, a kilogram of steel or a kilogram of feathers? That was actually the question that we were just answering, young lord. Oh my god, I cannot return back to the road. Anywho, we're gonna do some free skill exploring. I bet you can name all the cards in the deck of tarot cards. No! No! I deny this conspiracy theory. Alright, next question. Given the 4 time dilation due to the constant orbits of Earth experienced by cosmonaut Syzygy Krikalev in 0.02 seconds, is it possible to calculate any time differences due to time dilation that can be experienced by any person and or object on a beyond Earth scale? Say, humans going to Mars or to the Voyager probes. Well, so, when I got this question, I actually did some back-of-the-envelope calculations on humans traveling to Mars. So, roughly, like, a transfer orbit to Mars would move like 30 kilometers per second relative to the sun. So, roughly, you'd get like 0.3 seconds per year. I didn't do this calculation very rigorously, but like, you'd gain like a little bit of time, but not too much compared to someone on Earth. But even for something like the Voyager probes, there's not that much of a difference, because the Voyager probe is moving like 17 kilometers per second relative to the sun, so I'd say like relative to Earth, it was about like, over its whole journey, it gained like 46 seconds. So you might be wondering like, oh, with the twin paradox, where somebody could come back and they'd be like years older than their other twin due to time dilation, like why isn't that happening here? That's because the Voyager probe and maybe even a spacecraft heading to Mars, is nowhere close to the speed of light, which means that the time dilation effects are very small. But even if humans were to travel at like near relativistic speeds, if humans were able to travel near relativistic speeds, then time dilation effects would be far worse. Sine Wave asks, is there a place we can ask your question ourselves, or is that closed? Well, I think it's pinned on the Twitch and on the YouTube. If you forgot to submit a question, I created a new form that you can submit questions there, and it will be on the next Ask Me Anything. I hope there's a multiverse question. Oh, I don't think so, but you should submit one, because I'd be happy to talk about that, even though I'm not as familiar with multiverse theory, but I think it's very cool. Well, thank you, Klein Sakura, for this question. Very cool stuff. Next question. Do you believe that we will ever reach a point where we could stress test physics beyond the limits of what we currently know? For example, I, as someone who enjoys physics, believe that there are things who can move faster than light. However, because it's faster than anything we could ever perceive, we cannot ever know. So, to answer your first question, yes, we are constantly stress testing physics. I mean, that's basically how we make innovations in the field itself. I think every generation thinks that we've gotten to... Actually, I don't even think this is true. I think every generation we have a lot of discoveries, because each generation we find better experiments, better tools, new ways of thinking. For instance, one really exciting thing right now is with AI. There's been a lot of work being done in how AI can help with research discovery or research replication. And I think AI has been used to also do some math proofs as well. But to answer your second question, I kind of hate to burst your bubble, but the speed of C is a hard limit, because, as I mentioned before, if we were to travel faster than the speed of light, then we would break causality. That's the idea of cause and effect. In that case, the effect would come before causes. And that would basically destroy, like, the entire universe. Because that's just simply not possible. We have one thing happen after another. If you see an explosion before a bomb went off, then that would have a lot of implications for physics. So the speed of C is a hard limit. But I really like the first question that you asked, because we're constantly testing physics, and that's the way that we make new innovations. I stress test the seatbelts in this bus too. Yeah, I'm also stress testing my neck a little bit. Even old fields of physics have some unexpected findings. Yeah, no, that's totally true. I mean, there are some fields of physics that have been around for a very long time. And we're constantly finding newer and newer tools to understand these phenomena. Lord Kelvin famously said he believed we discovered the limits of physics right before quantum mechanics and relativity were discovered. Yeah, no, Lord Kelvin was looking at the tip of the iceberg. But yeah, I mean, I guess every generation there's maybe some people who believe that we've hit the ceiling, but honestly, I don't think there will ever be a point where we can get that. The bus has seatbelts. Yes, everybody put their seatbelts on. Alright. Next question. I'd like to confirm two ideas about physics that I think I understand. A, quantum physics is just about the math. Any written explanation is going to be analogy and or rough approximation. You cannot gain any insights without the math. Quantum physics is just about real-world effects. It isn't useful to ask questions about magical particle generators or detectors from Rao's world. Wait, sorry, give me 1 second. Sorry, I just had to respond to this real quick. Well, quantum physics is not just about the math. I mean, okay, let me rephrase that. Wow, we're going into a huge fog cloud, Orbeez. I literally have no visibility. Has anyone put seatbelts on a bus? Well, this bus has them because we are getting a ton of whiplash. Don't text and drive. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I put my hand off. Okay. I'm not promoting good behavior. We are not texting and driving. Last time Z sent it flying several times. Well, we're in a straight path, so it's a little bit easier. Ma'am, focus on the road. I'm focusing! I'm focusing! So, okay, let's answer this question. So, quantum physics is mathematical, but I wouldn't say it's just about the math, because there are explanations. It's just that a lot of these explanations tend to go against our intuition as people who live on macroscopic scales. There is a lot of math, wave functions, operators, Hilbert spaces, and quantum physics is just about the real world effects. I'm not sure what exactly you mean by that, actually. I would love to hear, like, more clarification. But I think what I want to say is that good physicists often build intuition through physical reasoning that is also guided by math. And that is harder to do with quantum physics just because we live not on the particle scale. And particles can be really weird. Like, concepts like superposition are really funky. But that doesn't mean that quantum physics is just about the math. So I hope that answers your question. And if you have a follow-up, I'd be happy to answer in the Discord as well. Or if you see the Google form and want to submit a follow-up, please go ahead as well. We don't understand Tokamak plasmas very well, and we've studied that for decades. Yeah, I mean, and for instance, like for plasma physics, we're trying to understand how we can capture energy from them as well. Like tokamaks, there's going to be the ITER in France that's being built right now. That's going to help further push our understanding of physics as we know it. Yeah, there's a real thing going on, but understanding it is impossible without using math to probe it, right? Well, I think quantum physics is one of those fields that are more dependent on math, just because there really isn't any, like, physical intuition. Maybe he means, like, is the stuff like the imaginary wave function physically real? In that case, I'd say that, like, math is pretty important. Because obviously, like, you can't, like, touch or feel a wave function. I guess what I want to state with this question is just that math is important, but it's not just math. I hope that answers your question. I feel like I'm getting a little bit confused by the phrasing of it. So if you have a follow-up, I'd be happy to give more clarification. Alright, next question. I'll throw a stupid sci-fi one. No, sci-fi ones are never stupid. But also because I like this sci-fi universe a lot. Are Kearny-Fuchida drives possible? And then a link. Thank you, Ananson1, for the question. If you guys don't know what that is, this Kearny-Fuchida drive thing basically allows oh my god, we abruptly stopped. I am so sorry, Orbeez. If anybody did not have their seatbelt on, they would have just gotten flung out the window. Oh my god, I can't even move. What? Ah! Ah! Wait, why am I can't move forward. I think I borked it. Oh my god, I think I borked it. Oh my god. I can't feel my feet, no! Wait, it's not letting me go forward. Very exciting time to be a researcher in fusion. We're eating good and governments actually want us to fund right now. Well, actually, Hakase, you don't have to answer this question, but I'm actually curious if you're doing research in fusion yourself. It's been really cool. I actually visited D3D a few months ago down in San Diego, which was a really great time. I know somebody who works there. Time to contact my lawyer about the bus accident. No, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Well, this might be a sign. We can switch to a different environment. We can go for night drive. Oh, this is gonna end very badly, very quickly. Alright, we're gonna refresh. Oh, yeah, that's spooky. Alright, night driving, here we come. Are you guys okay? We're all okay, we're all okay. We all survived. Okay, sorry, to go back to the question. The Kearny-Fuchida drive allows a spaceship to sort of like warp space to travel between star systems. It's sort of a way of bypassing the speed of light limit. And to answer this question, in principle, general relativity does allow us to like warp space-time, have wormholes or similar constructs. But the bad news is that requires a heck ton of energy. And they're not very stable. We have a lot of unknown questions just because we've never seen a wormhole before. I don't know if a spaceship itself could warp space. I'd imagine that'd take a ton of energy. It would probably require civilization to be harnessing a lot of energy. But I'd say it could be possible. It could be possible. I think also another way to warp space would require like negative energy density, which would be some type of like exotic matter which we know nothing about. Post on the Discord. Yeah, I'll also link all of these links in the video description as well. Yep, I study plasma disruptions and tokamaks. Wait, that's so exciting! Oh my god. I have colleagues at D3D. I worked on JET while I was active, and now I work with MassU. Wait, that's so cool. Well, very exciting to have you here. Tokamaks are very epic. Tokamaks or Stellar Raiders? I think you might be biased towards tokamaks. Alright, well, I love this question. Thank you, Addinson. Next question. Not sure if this is physics, but when I'm in the shower and there's a puddle of water on the floor, a drop of shampoo will create this big barrier that pushes away the water while the shampoo remains unmixed. Why? I think first, water has strong cohesion because of its hydrogen bonds. So that sort of gives water a high surface tension. Regarding why it causes a barrier, shampoo has these things called like surfactants, I think is what they're called, which have two parts. They have a hydrophilic, or a part that likes water, and a hydrophobic, which is a part that fears water. And so when shampoo is introduced in the system, it disrupts those hydrogen bonds because one side of it likes water and the other part doesn't like water, and that's how soap sort of works. Oh, I think there's this other effect that summarizes why exactly this happens. I'm blanking on what it's called. It's like called like the... It feels like the macaroni effect. No, okay, not the macaroni effect. The Marangoni effect. It's this idea that when one region of the puddle has lower surface tension, the surrounding water like pulls away from that region. So I guess there's sort of three parts. The first is water is very cohesive. The second is that shampoo has these things called surfactants that have hydrophilic and hydrophobic parts. And the final... There was a notification, but it's borking out. And the final part is the Marangoni effect, where the water pulls away from a region with surfactants, with lower surface tension. Oh, I think somebody just followed. If you followed and the notification didn't pop up, Hi, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for following. Let me catch up on chat. I think accelerators have potential in the future, but they're very complex to build, so it's better to answer the complex questions on tokamaks first. Yes. The Weinstein 7X is an incredible machine though, and only Germans could build something with that tolerance. My granddad worked on hot fusion in UC Berkeley. Ooh, that's really cool. Wow, we have some like really exciting people in the chat. Thank you Gungan Descendant and Rickety Railway for joining for the first time. And thank you to whoever who just followed. The macaroni effect does sound delicious. I do love a good bowl of macaroni and cheese. I think it's been like years. No. Maybe within this past year I've had macaroni and cheese, but I haven't had it in a while. When I really liked the Kraft macaroni and cheese when I was younger. Like, I know that cheese was so artificial, but there's just something like studying late at night and having like a bowl of warm Kraft macaroni and cheese while doing your problem sets. I think it creates a localized low surface tension zone where water can't stick to each other and have volume. Yes. So that's the Marangoni effect. Next question. If you fired a bullet in zero gravity, would you be propelled by the force of the bullet being shot out, or would you still be able to remain in the same position, but the bullet would keep going until its energy runs out? Well, Uh-oh! Oh no, I'm sorry, I did not mean to... Oh wait, we're here. Well, if you were to fire a bullet, you would be propelled backwards because of Newton's third law. By Newton's third law, the bullet would exert an equal and opposite force on you. It's this idea of like recoil. In space, you would have no friction, so both you and the bullet would just move in opposite directions. And the bullet would go forward really quickly because it's smaller, less massive, and you would drift backwards slowly. Thank you, Elias R. Silvers, for that question. Sounds fantastic. I'll try that tonight. No! No! Well, you do feel recoil. Technically, even if you throw an object. If you are ever stranded in space, which I hope does not apply to any of you Orbeez, if you're ever stranded in space, one way to get back to your spaceship is to throw an object, such as a wrench, in the opposite direction, as to where you want to go. And because there's no friction, you would just slowly go in the opposite direction until hopefully you reach your spacecraft. Stranded in space, very relatable. Next question. Oh my god, I am unable to see. I think we should change it up. I think we should go for the casual map. And I think we should go for sun time with snow. Or... oh, I like the spring one too. Let's do a nice spring drive. Alright, next question. How the heck does an electron have no volume, yet it has mass? That's a... That's a great question. So, electrons are treated as point particles, meaning that they have no measurable size or volume so far. In the standard model itself, mass for an electron arises through this thing called the Higgs field. It's related with the Higgs boson. When the electron interacts with this Higgs field, that's when it sort of acquires quote-unquote mass. But it's not the same mass as in you can put it on a scale. So that's sort of the way that it has... I'm sorry, Orbeez! So that's why an electron has no volume, but it has mass. 30 minutes left and no hilarious crash left. Eternal Sonata, you literally jinxed it. I remember in college we were at a restaurant and we had an argument about how far an astronaut could drift from the ISS and fart their way back to safety. Well, since it's inside the suit. That's funny though. My leg, my back, I'm sorry. We're back on the road now, I promise. Someone find one of my arms. No, I promise. It's okay, it's okay. See, nice, nothing happened. We survived. Alright. Next question. From Kaito Blackwood. Portal type portals, would they realistically work? So, to make a portal, like the game Portal, you would basically need some type of wormhole, which would fold space-time so that two regions with a certain distance would touch. But just like the question before about like the special drive that would allow you to warp space-time, we know very little about this type of stuff. We know it's possible through general relativity. It would just require something with negative energy density or a heck ton of energy and mass to make it possible. So it'd be very hard for these things to stay open, and let alone make them in the first place. And we've never seen it in nature before. So I guess to answer this question, through general relativity, yes, you can sort of fold space-time, but I'm not sure if it's a portal type situation. Alright, next question. How do magnets work? Magnets work because of the alignment of electrons inside of atoms. Every electron is sort of like a tiny magnet because of its spin. It comes from like orbiting around the nucleus. In most materials, they're not magnetic because these electrons spin points in different directions. But in certain materials that are magnetic, electrons in nearby atoms can align their spins with each other. And altogether, that combined field would then cause the material to be magnetic. Already clipped. Oh no, Orbeez, I hope you guys are okay. I'm like oscillating back and forth, so if you are motion sick, please look outside the window. You can open a window if you'd like. I'll lay down on the floor between the seats. I'm not sure if that would be good for motion sickness, but yes, everybody stay safe. Alright, next question. If I can back out of this wall. Theory of relativity. Have we managed to find anything that can break it? Or are we still hard stuck in terms of following it, which makes things like infinite energy generation, time travel, and teleportation a distant dream? Relativity stands undefeated. We have confirmed through experimental tests from GPS satellites to like gravitational lensing that relativity is real. But of course, we still have a long ways to go to understanding, like, first off, time travel, as I mentioned before, would not really be possible. And bending and warping space-time would require us to understand a lot of concepts about negative energy densities and maybe exotic matters, which we also obviously don't know anything about. I'm actually curious why I want to go into that pond over there. Orbeez, we're taking a slight detour. I had an intrusive thought. I gotta go lock in. Nice to catch you online. Thank you so much, Dima. Ah! We're gonna go into the ocean to answer the next question. Next question. What are your thoughts on string theory? From Prudent Lingoberry. Do you know how to solve string theory? I'm sorry, I cannot solve string theory. But I can briefly explain it. while we go into the ocean just for funsies. Wait, this is actually kind of nice. Isn't this kind of zen? There's no road. There's nothing for us to worry about. So, string theory says that... Yes, I am explaining string theory in the middle of the ocean. String theory says that if we stop treating particles as points, and we can think of them rather as like vibrating strings, and the types of vibrations determine the type of particle. And some people claim that this is a way to solve some issues that we're facing with quantum gravity and so forth. We are at an impasse. But the sad thing about string theory is that it's very hard to prove it. I mean, for instance, it requires a lot of things. For instance, it requires 10 to 11 dimensions of space-time. It requires a lot of different configurations that lead to particles. And I think this is called like the landscape issue or the landscape problem. So it's not very it's impossible to test it. But that being said, that's the case for some things in theoretical physics. So my thoughts is it's a really cool theory. It's really exciting, but it has a lot of required materials that we cannot test. I think we're actually stuck in the ocean, so we're gonna teleport out. I think a fish just bit me. Well, at least you learned about string theory. Yes. Alright, we're back on the road. No, we're not drowning. Wait, let me see how many slides I have. So, we're coming up on 25 minutes left, and there's a lot of physics questions. I think we have about 5 physics questions left. But I think if you guys don't mind, we can skip to the physics education section and then do a few more questions in each of the categories. Just because I love talking about physics, but there are a lot of categories to go through, and I'd love to chat more about some other questions too. I just had the weirdest dream we were under the sea. So we're going to skip to physics education, and don't worry, I'll save the questions for the next Q&A, and if you have questions, please use the form that's pinned in the comment. Alright. So this question from Ponderosa Fine: if you could change one thing about the way that physics is taught to students, what would it be? So one of the reasons why I wanted to skip this section is because actually for this stream I've been thinking a lot about sort of what are the ways that we can make physics education more inclusive. There's a lot of stigma of physics being really hard. Oh my god! Oh my god! Okay. Oh no! We're going down. Oh, I can't get out. Oh, we're stuck. Okay. Nothing happened. We're just gonna admire this beautiful lake here. Okay. It's about physics education. I think one of the biggest things is emphasizing physical intuition behind formulas and not just how to plug and chug. I think another thing is starting out with like first principles and building up. And the reason why I mention those two is because first, I think it's really cool to ask like why instead of how can I just score the most points on a homework, because it really just gets people's like curiosity going. Another great thing that I feel like is really working is you do sort of small group based problem solving during lecture, where you actually derive yourself the equations that you'll end up using on the homeworks or on assessments. And that can sort of give you the way of thinking like a physicist, because you're actually deriving equations, you're trying out new things, you're experimenting, you're creating hypotheses, you're testing those hypotheses. And also, if it's interactive and you have whiteboards everywhere, students learn better and are less distracted if they have devices, right? And if everybody's working on a whiteboard together without their phones, without their iPads, without computers, then A, you get to meet some pretty cool physics nerds, and B, you get to also learn from deriving the equations yourself. I am also a big believer in teaching something yourself is one of the best ways that you can learn. Because you're explaining something verbally to somebody else, and they might ask you a question that you have never thought of. So I feel like one of the ways that teaching can be more inclusive is having these sort of small group exercises where you're deriving things together. And I hope that also will help people overcome the stigma of like physics being mostly math, or like that being like really hard, or like being like, I don't know where these equations came from, I just know I have to plug values in, because you're actually playing around with the physics itself. Better integrated syllabus. Mechanics is the perfect way to teach calculus. Yeah, and I guess the way that it works in high school sometimes is that they have courses where it's mechanics with no calculus, which is sort of unbelievable to me because those two go so hand in hand with each other. And honestly, it would be better if you learned them together, because let's say you're taking a calculus class and you're using those same ideas in mechanics where you can actually see like, oh, I throw this ball and I'm using calculus to solve for that. You're tying a physical intuition to math. And I think that can also solve the problem of people thinking that math is hard. Because sometimes, you know, if you're just plugging and chugging, there's no physical intuition to that. And some people think better when they're visual learners or when there's some sort of physical motivation behind a problem. Learning something from first principles is the best way to understand things, in my opinion. I completely agree. Alright, next question. What's the one concept you find a lot of people struggle on when they do physics? I feel like quantum physics, quantum mechanics, is very hard to explain for the first time. Because it really breaks every intuition we've built from living in a macroscopic world constantly. You know, you have to deal with like, oh, you do an experiment twice and you get the results to be different each time. That's something that just breaks like common sense, right? Or a particle existing in many states at once. And of course, another thing about quantum physics is that it's, I think, compared to some other physics field, like really math heavy. So I think out of all of physics, the one concept that a lot of people struggle on is quantum physics. Actually, Orbeez, I'm curious, if you have studied physics in the past, like, is there one concept or one field of physics that you tend to struggle most on? Because I'm actually very curious to hear. I feel like maybe the reason why I answered quantum physics for this question is because, for me, quantum physics was one of the craziest things to wrap my head around when I first learned it. And it was a huge learning curve. My experience as a grader was that a lot of people did really bad on early E&M homework. Stat Mech. Oh yes, Stat Mech is also very hard. E&M as well. I think one of the things about E&M is that Maxwell's equations are so beautiful, and people don't really get to that until near the end of their course. Which in some ways is sort of like a really great way to wrap up everything all together. But it also means that, you know, while you're doing the course or while you have like midterms or different assessments, you don't have that singular Maxwell equations to beautifully summarize the course or some like central tenet to go back to. I spent my whole childhood being told about quantum mechanics. What? What kind of childhood did you have, Astral? I did not interact with quantum mechanics in my childhood. I'm gonna skip the next one because it sort of goes to the same one. I actually wanted to answer this one. Would you react to Animation versus Education by Alan Becker by Ruhira the Introvert? And wait, let me stop the bus. Let me stop the bus because I have a surprise for you guys. If you've made it this far into the stream. Happening in the near future, Physics VTuber reacts to Animation versus. I made the thumbnail for this. It's going to happen. I promise. It might be a few weeks, but yes. Stay tuned for that. Very, 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 very exciting. Yippee! Ah! Oh, thank you, Boogie Papu, for, following. So yes, this is going to happen. Yeah, I actually have been recommended this video series in the Discord in the past as well. So I'm very excited, to make this happen. So that will be a very cozy stream. So we're coming up on 15 minutes. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to answer a few astrophysics questions and a few about Z questions. And then I think we're going to call it a day if that's okay. All right. I will do probably about 3 of these questions. So the first one I really wanted to answer. By Ashcrafter55. More signs of life on Mars. What better thing to talk about this time? I wanted to answer this question because I've been yapping about this constantly. So for those of you who don't know, this was pretty big in the news a few weeks ago. The Perseverance rover found this potential biosignature, which are specific organic materials, which were in these rocks at Zecret crater where the rover is located. And these minerals resemble the stuff that is produced by microbes on Earth billions of years ago. This is honestly like the strongest possible evidence of microbial life on Mars. But of course, there could possibly be alternate hypotheses for why those minerals exist. And one of the ways that we could have confirmed that is through returning these samples back to Earth. But unfortunately, the Mars sample return mission is not happening, which is very sad. But the TLDR is that we found these really exciting biosignatures, and they could be indicative of microbial life on Mars, but I think it's falls a little bit short of absolute confirmation. Whoa! Whoa! Oh my god, the bus is flying! Indefinitely delayed. Yeah, I think that's the right way to say it. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, it would be very big if it's true, as we are drifting across the roads. I mean, honestly, the optimist in me is definitely hoping for it to be true. Like, that would be very exciting. Oh! What? Oh, to whoever just followed, thank you so much for following. Sorry, my alerts are being really glitchy. We're going amongst the trees. And speaking of tree, oh! Ah! I was gonna say, speaking of trees, if we were to find life on Mars, that would be indicative of life being much more common than we expected. But unfortunately, if there's one thing I know for sure, there's probably no life on this bus right now, given that we've ran through like 30 trees and are now at the bottom of the ocean. Or the pond. It's okay. We can just teleport back. Nothing is happening. I promise you, life is daijoubu. I love the water. honestly, I love swimming. I actually went swimming a few days ago. Like, I love the ocean. The way I understood it, it's not we know it's life, we don't know what it could be other than life. Yes, no, that's exactly the way that I'm interpreting it. I think there could be alternative hypotheses, but, like, there's really no way to test that. I think, if anything, what we can do is just further analyze the elements that have, the minerals that have been detected on Mars, and see where it goes from there. How many points does Z have on her license? No, Orbeez, I'm a safe driver, I promise. I promise. I do have to admit, though, I am not certified to drive a bus. So maybe that's what it is. I'm not certified to drive a bus. Alright, so we have 10 minutes left, so... Oh, wow, we have a lot of questions. You know what, Orbeez? I think we're gonna have to do a part 3. Does that sound good to you? Yay? Nay? Well, if my license isn't revoked by the time the next stream comes around. Oh, what? Okay. Yay? Yes, that sounds very good. I love these streams. Alright, but in the last 10 minutes, I think we are going to speed through some About Z questions. As much as we can until the 10 minutes are up. Does that sound like a plan? We're going to speed at C. And finally, we're going to switch to winter mode. At night. Oh no, I think that's a little too dark. Oh, pink sky. Okay. Pink sky winter mode. We are going to speed at C through these questions. So let's go. Oh! Thank you, Alfie Doodle, for following. That scared me for a second. Alright. Without much further ado, let's go. Xenotime asks, curious if you've done any engineering simulation-y work like CFD or something. I'm currently learning more tools about that. It's a lot more interesting than I thought it would be. Or just thoughts about them in general. Yes, I've dabbled a bit. Dabbled a bit is probably an understatement. I obviously cannot get too much in detail just given what I'm currently working on. But let's just say it involves like astrophysical hydrodynamic simulations, the ones that sort of model how gas and plasmas move in space. And yes, I agree that simulations are very cool. It's just really cool to see how physics play out visually. I didn't know this until I started working in simulations, but I am definitely a visual learner. And just seeing, like, visually, like, the simulation results themselves, it just makes me even more excited to understand astrophysics. It's just a little bit more engaging than equations on paper. Plus, it's just cool to show people, like, this is some sort of simulated object, right? Like, and people are like, wow, that's so cool. So, yes, Xenotime, I'm in support. Z Stellaris developer confirmed. I wish. Next question. Ah! If you could vacation anywhere on Earth, where would you pick? No, wait, we're both MHD modelers. Wait, I'd low-key love to chat more Akase. Wait, the stuff that you're working on also sounds very interesting. If you haven't already, if you're on the Discord, maybe I haven't seen your username. It's right there. Okay, back to driving carefully. No texting and driving. If I could vacation anywhere on Earth, I've actually never been to Hawaii. I would love to see the night skies there. But I think my favorite place is Switzerland. I love Zurich. It's just such a gorgeous town. I went to Zermatt about a year ago for a vacation, and it was so beautiful. The mountains were great. I did get a bit of altitude sickness, but besides that, it was gorgeous. And maybe a third one is Jeju Island in Korea. I went there once, like, many, many years ago, and I want to go back again. It's just such a gorgeous little island. I think nowadays it's like more overrun with tourists than when I last went. But it would be absolutely great. Orbeez, I'm actually curious, where would you guys vacation? Maybe I can get some ideas from you. Not Horgy, Hugh asks, what's for dinner? What did you have for dinner? Well, for breakfast, I had some chia seed pudding. What did I even eat for dinner yesterday? Coffee? Wait, no, Orbeez, I'm healthy, I promise. Shoot, I don't remember what I ate for dinner. Oh, no, I had, you know, you can get those, like, packets of seaweed. I had that and rice. It was very, girl dinner is what they call it, I guess. Girl dinner. I've only been to Lausanne. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I really want to go there too. That and Interlaken. You've seen the Aurora Borealis? I've not. Honestly, this is a bit of a pipe dream. I don't know if that's the right way to use that sentence. But I would love to, if I were to ever be proposed to, underneath the Aurora Borealis with the night sky and the stars would just be like the dream. Like, that would just be an absolute dream. My breakfast is always coffee. I had coffee this morning as well. Who could it be? Stay on the road, yes. Japan? Oh yeah, I visited Japan last time. I loved Tokyo. I think it was a little too busy for me. It was a lot of fun though. I think it was great I think I went for 2 weeks. It was perfect enough for 2 weeks, but I really wanted to go to Kyoto or the place where you can like pet the deers. I faintly saw the aurora when I was in Iceland a few years ago. Oh my god, please take me with you! Ah! Oh, what? To whoever just followed, thank you for following. Sorry, my notifications. Oh, thank you, Frost, for following. Thank you so much. Yeah, it doesn't get more romantic than that. Honestly, I love just sitting out there for hours before the Aurora Borealis. Like, I feel like that's also part of the experience. Like, you're looking at the stars together. I don't know, maybe it's just the astrophysics nerd in me. Go to the bunny island? There's a bunny island? That is an amazing scenario. See, this is the dream. This is the dream. Seeing in person isn't quite as fun. Though, my friend did see an Aurora Borealis, and she said that it was as visible as it was in the photos, but I don't remember where she went. Ah! Touching deers would be fun, too. Alright. Oh, we're reaching a dead end here. Boop, we're back on the road. 4 minutes left. Next question. On a scale of 1 to 100, how excited would you be if Betelgeuse exploded? Well, a scale of 1 to 10. Well, I would feel 100 because, I mean, that would be so cool. If Betelgeuse exploded, it would look like a bright star in the night sky for a really long time. I think you would also be able to see it during the day. I just think it would be cool. Like, the fact that you were able to live through a supernova, which, frankly, doesn't really happen. And for a star, well, supernova happen very often, but the fact that it would be literally visible in the night sky would be really exciting. I think it would also be really good for, like, public outreach and that kind of stuff, too. Hello, Meme Eater. Hi, we're speeding through questions at the speed of C. Question number 5. TLDR, where are all the nerds? I feel like it's hard to find curious people, like the kind that would be at least somewhat passionate at any topic and trying to find out more. I have a friend at uni that are complete nerds when it comes to certain things, but rarely see something like that in real life. Do you think that generally people don't share interests openly, or it's just that some nerds are bound to gather in clubs? Wow, okay, I actually didn't expect a more serious question in here. Anonymous, nerds exist. Nerds are out there. Honestly, all of us Orbeez, we are all nerds. I feel like sometimes people mask their interests to appear more normal. I feel like the trick is to really find spaces where people can get curious. That can include maybe a space club, a stargazing club, or if you're in these spaces like academic conferences or small hobby groups. I feel like another place where nerds gather, if you're of age obviously, are sometimes bars. They host academic speakers. And these are places where people can geek out really freely. So it's not that curiosity is gone or dying or anything. It's just that sometimes it may feel like our culture doesn't have space for it, but the nerds are out there. It's just trying to find these places where curiosity is nurtured. I'm also a firm believer of you become the people that you surround yourself with, and if you are in these places that help encourage and nurture creativity, then you also naturally become more creative and curious. So that's my suggestion for Anonymous. I hope that helps. Conference dinners are so fun. Yeah, no, they sure are. Honestly, I just love conference dinners. Just meeting people at conferences is great. You share so many ideas. Bars have academic speakers. There are a few bars that do that around. I guess this might be a US thing that I've heard of, but I assume they also exist in other countries. It's true. I can't drive anymore. I'm so sorry. We are going so off-road. Well, we have 1 minute. I think we can do... Maybe we'll skip to these two. Tyler asks, do you have any plans to do more live lecture streams? Also, merch when? Yes, live lecture streams. It's going to happen, I promise. I've actually got a few already thought up of. I was actually thinking about doing one on AI governance and one on virtual reality, if those strike your interests. I've been doing some reading on both of these topics, and they've been really exciting. Merch when? So I have been trying to get plushies, but I've unfortunately had a few incidents where, A, I don't have a large enough channel for a company to support plushies, or B, I've gotten, like, flaked on before, so I'm trying to find a trustable vendor for potential plushies. So I'd say I'm keeping an eye out on it, but it might be a while before it comes to fruition. And I guess the final question, because Astral is here, is if you were forced to guess what the super secret zoject entails, which is a secret project that's been teased about in my Discord amongst some Orbies, what would you guess it would be? I have a few theories for what the zoject is. The first is that I think it's some sort of video game. And the reason for that is because I cannot back out. Like a week ago, Astral was asking if I could submit audio clips of me cackling maliciously. And I was thinking, that could be like a really good sound effect for a video game. Another thing it could be is maybe related to something more in space, though I feel like having a cackling audio clip is not really related to that. Or finally, I think it could be just a really nice video just recapping the channel, which would honestly be so heartwarming. So I have no idea what the zoject is, but that's what I think it is. Astro on tap, yes. We are going through the trees because it is about time for us to wrap up. So thank you for all of the questions. I'm sorry I couldn't get to all of them, but that just means we gotta do a part 3. This is actually the second time I've done this. So keep an eye out for that soon. Just as a final announcement, next weekend I am actually traveling. So I am planning to do a co-working member stream, maybe next Thursday. Keep your eye out in the members Discord. I will chat more about that soon. It honestly depends on low-key a big factor. I mentioned this at the start of the stream, but the car that my friend and I have been using recently got broken into, and that's been a little bit crazy right now, so it really depends on how quickly that gets resolved. So I will keep you guys updated, and I definitely want to do an unboxing stream next, so keep your eye out. I was gifted an automaton and this like shy blanket thing and a Zork lift, so that will be very fun to try out. So keep an eye out on that soon. Alright, well, thank you Orby so much. Before you leave, we're gonna try to see if we can raid into somebody. Wait, Vettel is streaming, but I feel like, I don't know if that's a good idea to raid, given that there's like 4.5k people on there. We're gonna try to do a Twitch raid, so if you're on YouTube, go. I'm trying to see if there is a sciencey stream. Oh, wait! So ipaintbirbs, who does, bird painting, is streaming right now, so we're gonna try to raid that. I know they are a much larger channel, but we'll see if it works. It's definitely rough if you have smaller following for merch like that. Yeah, but I'll keep you guys updated. More questions or more questionable driving, both. If you want to submit a question for the next Ask Me Anything, check out the pinned message in both the YouTube and the Twitch. And also send that out on my X and stuff like that too. So let me just do the raid. Alright, if you are the YouTube, go to Twitch. Or you can, let me just paste it into the chat here. Thank you, Orby, so much. I will see you guys very soon. I will see you guys in the next stream. Till then, stay safe, stay warm, stay cozy, stay Orbus free. Alright, goodbye! Bye-bye!